The air was cold, but not lifeless. It carried the scent of pine and smoke, and something deep buried beneath the white layers of December in Germany is a story most people have forgotten. A story of fire festivals, evergreen branches, and the ancient longing to bring light into darkness. Long before Christmas trees twinkled with electric bulbs or children left cookies out for Santa Claus, Germanic tribes watched the skies and feared the long, brutal winter nights. In these forgotten centuries, December marked not just a turning of the calendar, but a struggle of life against death. The winter solstice Gelfest, as it was known among pre-Christian Germanic peoples, was a sacred time. The darkest day of the year carried a paradox, the promise of rebirth. Bonfires were lit on hillsides to cool the sun back. Evergreen branches were hung indoors, not as decoration, but as talismans of endurance. And through the snow, communities gathered to feast, to remember, and to hope. If this story is touching you, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. When Christianity arrived, it didn't erase these customs that absorbed them. Slowly, deliberately, the early church, keenly aware of the power of tradition, allowed many of these winter rites to remain, now reframed under the light of Christ. The Yule tree became the Christbaum, the sacred fire became the Advent candle, and the winter feast found a new center, the birth of Jesus. But the transformation wasn't instant. For centuries, Germany was a patchwork of tribes, duchies, and religious ideologies. The Christmas we know today was still forming, section by section, heart by heart. In the Middle Ages, German towns began holding December processions, where children carried candles and songs filled the cold streets. The nativity, plays, or a Krippenspiel became a popular way of teaching the gospel to the illiterate staged in town squares, with costumes, incense, and sometimes even real animals. These were not polished performances, but raw acts of devotion and memory. Each play was a thread in the growing tapestry of Christmas as Germany wove it. The forests of Germany's so dense, so mythic, played their own part. It was said that the evergreens whispered of life, everlasting, as early as the 5th-10th century. There are records of paradise trees being used in church plays about Adam and Eve. Set on December 24th, the traditional feast day of the first humans. These small trees, decorated with apples, represented the tree of knowledge, but they soon made their way into homes, where they took on a new meaning, not of sin, but of salvation. By the 16th century, in the shadow of the Protestant Reformation, a man named Martin Luther is said to have walked through a snowy forest and paused under the stars. Seeing their light shimmer through the evergreens, he brought a tree into his home and lit it with candles to recreate that moment of peace, that stillness, that holiness. Whether legend or truth, the image endures. It's no coincidence that so many Christmas symbols trace their roots to Germany. Here, Christmas isn't a season, it's a heritage, not merely celebrated, but guarded, revered, and passed down. The transformation from pagan ritual to Christian celebration was neither abrupt nor violent. It was evolutionary, deeply cultural, and intimately German. Every custom absorbed something from the old world and reframed it for the new. The celestial became the spiritual, the tribal became the familial. In this, Germany didn't just adopt Christmas, it helped define it. As we walk through the snowy villages and old cathedrals of this country, we begin to see the invisible layers of tradition. The Yule log hidden beneath the Advent wreath, the solstice fire remembered in every glowing candle, the ancient fears of darkness, of hunger, of forgetting transformed into rituals of hope, warmth, and remembrance. And so, Christmas in Germany is not merely a holiday. It's an echo, a quiet but powerful reminder that even in the deepest cold, humans have always found ways to make light, to gather close, and to tell stories that keep the soul alive. In Germany, the heart of Christmas is not found in a single character, but in a quiet tension between two sacred figures, one of faith and one of folklore. Together, the Christkind and Saint Nicholas embody the soul of a nation caught between tradition and transformation. Their stories run parallel, sometimes converging, sometimes diverging, but always pulsing beneath the surface of the German winter. To understand this duality, we must return to the 4th century, to the shores of what is now modern-day Turkey, where a bishop named Nicholas Amira walked among the poor. Known for his anonymous acts of generosity, Nicholas was a quiet revolutionary, a man of wealth who gave it away. His legend traveled north, growing in power with each telling. By the Middle Ages, he had become Saint Nicholas, in the German-speaking world the saint of children, protector of the weak, and giver of small gifts on the eve of his feast day. December 6th. For centuries, this was the moment that children waited for. Not December 24th. Not the 25th. Saint Nicholas arrived, often dressed in a bishop's robe, accompanied by a fearsome figure. Necked Ruprecht, or in some regions, Krampus-horned, shadowy enforcers who punished the disobedient. Together, they created a moral axis. Kindness rewarded, mischief corrected. This dynamic was no fairy tale. It was a living ritual. In towns and villages, men dressed as Nikolaus would visit homes, read from a book of the child's deeds, and leave nuts, apples, or sweets in clean boots placed by the door. But the Reformation would reshape this narrative. In the 16th century, Martin Luther, seeking to steer Protestant culture away from saint veneration, introduced a new bearer of gifts, das Christkind, the Christ child. Unlike Saint Nicholas, the Christkind was not a historical figure, but a spiritual symbol, a radiant, childlike presence, genderless, angelic, and divine. Luther wanted Christ himself, not a saint, to be the center of the holiday. And so, he moved the gift-giving to Christmas Eve, aligning it with the Holy Birth. But the Christkind was never meant to be literal. It was a presence, an idea, a feeling, a whisper of divinity moving through candlelight. Yet over time it became personified, especially in Catholic regions, where young girls would dress in white robes and golden crowns, playing the role in Christmas markets and processions. Soft-voiced, ethereal, the Christkind became an icon of innocence and mystery. What's remarkable is how both traditions survived side by side. In some German households, the Christkind delivers the presents. In others, Saint Nicholas still comes early in December, and in many, both are celebrated. One as the quiet soul of Christmas, the other as its joyful messenger. Unlike the commercial Santa Claus who dominates Western imagery, the German Christkind and Saint Nicholas are steeped in ritual. They are less about fantasy and more about remembrance. Each figure calls upon a different part of the German heart, one rooted in Christian devotion, the other in communal memory. And yet, modern Germany is not immune to outside influence. In recent decades, the Americanized Weihnachtsmann, Santa Claus, has crept into German malls and media, often portrayed as a friendly alternative. But for many families, especially those tied to older traditions, the Christkind remains sacred. It is not just nostalgia, it is a form of cultural preservation. There's something profoundly German in this resistance, in the way candlelight is preferred over blinking in the quiet reverence for December 6th, even when the 25th looms larger in popular culture, in the way a child's name is still read from a book by a costumed Nikolaus in a church hall, while the Christkind's presence is felt but never fully seen. This dual narrative is not a contradiction, it's a balance. In Germany, Christmas is both mystical and moral. It celebrates the birth of Christ, but also the acts of saints. It remembers ancient rituals, but keeps their meaning alive in new forms. And it teaches children, gently, that magic is not always loud or visible. Sometimes, it's silent and sacred. As night falls across the towns and forests of Germany, a quiet bell rings. A door creaks open. A child finds something small and sweet in their shoe. Not because they were perfect, but because they were remembered. If there is one tradition that captures the soul of a German Christmas, its warmth, its craftsmanship, its sense of togetherness, it is the Weihnachtsmarkt, the Christmas market. In the chill of late November, town squares across Germany begin to transform. Wooden stalls rise like miniature villages, rooftops dusted with snow, lights glowing from within. The scent of roasted chestnuts, cinnamon, and mulled wine begins to drift through the air, and suddenly winter feels less like something to endure and more like something to celebrate. The origins of these markets date back to the late Middle Ages, with the earliest known versions appearing in Dresden in 1434 and Munich in 1310. Initially, they were not festive at all, but practical. They allowed citizens to stock up on food and supplies for the winter. Over time, artisans began to sell handcrafted toys, candles, and sweets, and somewhere along the way, the function gave way to atmosphere. By the 17th and 18th centuries, the Weihnachtsmarkt had become a ritual of community. Towns competed in beauty and craftsmanship. Each market became a mirror of its region. From the Baroque splendor of Dresden Estresselmarkt to the medieval charm of Rothenburg Obi-Dortaubar to the urban elegance of Cologne beneath its towering Gothic cathedral. No two were alike, but all shared a purpose: to draw people together, heart by heart, stall by stall. There is something deeply sensory about these markets. The cold on your cheeks, the heat of a ceramic mug filled with glowing, the spiced red wine that warms the soul, the sound of a choir echoing from a nearby chapel, children bundled in scarves, their faces lit by the soft glow of hand-carved lanterns, and everywhere craftsmanship, hand-blown glass ornaments, wooden toys painted by hand, stars made of straw, paper, and patience. These aren't mass-produced decorations, they are heirlooms. Each one carries a story, and in the midst of all this light and wonder, one figure quietly returns. The Christkind, in towns like Nuremberg, she arrives each year to open the market, her golden crown shimmering, her voice soft and clear. The ceremony is brief, but profound. She stands not as an entertainer, but as a symbol of quiet magic, welcoming all to the season of light. If you're watching this with the lights low and a warm drink in hand, let yourself be carried for a moment into the soundscape of a German market. The low murmur of voices, the crunch of snow underfoot, the jingle of a bell from a passing sleigh. It is not extravagant, it is not loud, but it is deeply human. And here lies the soul of the Weihnachtsmarkt. It is not about consumption, it is about presence, about slowing down, about walking with no agenda, simply allowing yourself to be part of something communal, beautiful, and fleeting. In a world that often rushes toward Christmas with urgency and noise, the German market asks us to pause, to savor, to connect. It invites us to remember that Christmas is not something we buy. It is something we feel, share, and remember. Each stall is a doorway into memory. The same vendor who sells carved nutcrackers today may have learned the trade from a father or grandfather who once sold the same figures decades ago. Some stalls are operated by entire families, their hands working generation after generation to preserve a certain design, a certain recipe, a certain feeling. Even in the face of modernity, where online shopping and global brands threaten to flatten tradition, these markets endure, because they are not just places to purchase things. They are places to belong. In the hush of falling snow, beneath garlands of fur and lights that twinkle like stars, something ancient awakens. A child sees their first carved angel. A couple shares a cup of mulled wine in silence. A stranger offers a smile to another, and for a moment, a cold winter square becomes a cathedral of wonder. This is the heart of the German Christmas, not spectacle, but intimacy, a reminder that sometimes the greatest gifts are not wrapped, they are felt. In Germany, Christmas is not merely seen, it is crafted with hands weathered by time and tools passed down through generations. Entire villages dedicate themselves to shaping the season with wood, wax, and flame. Here, ornaments are not mass-produced, but handmade stories, each a reflection of memory, belief, and beauty. To understand the German soul at Christmas time, we must step inside these traditions of form and fire. In the mountainous region of Erzgebirge, the Ore Mountains on the border between Germany and the Czech Republic, and entire communities have lived for centuries as wood born out of necessity. When mining towns fell into economic hardship, the people turned to what was abundant. Forests they began to carve. Angels, shepherds, stables, trees, stars. Over time, these carvings evolved into icons of the German Christmas. Perhaps the most recognizable among them is the nutcracker. Far from the colorful toy soldier of ballet fame, the traditional Erzgebirge nutcracker is fierce-faced, regal, and symbolic. He is not merely a decoration. He is a guardian, a protector of the home, standing tall among candlelight and fur. His jaws, often functional, speak of resilience, the power to break what is hard, to protect what is soft. Beside him, you'll often find the smoker man, Ackerman, a figure hollowed inside, where a small incense cone is placed. As it burns, smoke curls from his mouth or pipe, as if he breathes the very spirit of winter. These figures can be miners, hunters, wise men, or whimsical characters, each representing a piece of village life, now immortalized in fragrant smoke. But among all the wooden symbols, none are as sacred or as haunting as the Christmas pyramid or Weihnachtsmarkt. These intricate, rotating structures rise in tiers like miniature temples. Carved scenes from the nativity or village life dance in slow, hypnotic circles, powered only by the rising heat of candles. The flames spin the paddles above, and the entire story of Christmas turns. Silently, gently, endlessly. In the motion is a metaphor, the cycle of seasons, the passing of time, the eternal return of light after darkness. Families gather around these pyramids, not as decoration, but as ritual. Children watch the figures spin. Elders adjust the candles, careful not to let the flames grow too high. It is a shared act, a moment of stillness in motion, and then there is the light itself. Candles are everywhere in the German Christmas. On trees, in windows, in wreaths. The Scribelgun, a candle arch made of wood and placed in windows, originated in the Ore Mountains as a way to welcome miners home during the long winter nights. Now, they shine as beacons of welcome, each arch decorated with carvings of forests, churches, stars, and families gathered by the fire. A home with a candle in the window is a home that says, "We are here, we are together, we remember." If you're watching this now, in the quiet of your evening, picture it, a small German town tucked in snow. Inside one home, a Christmas pyramid spins in slow circles. A Ruckman exhales a stream of pine-scented smoke. A nutcracker stands on the mantel, proud and silent. And in the window, a candle burns, steady, golden, eternal. These symbols are not decorations. They are anchors. They ground the German Christmas in place, in memory, in tradition. Each one holds meaning, not because someone said it should, but because generations have given it meaning through use, reverence, and repetition. In a world where seasons blur and symbols are often reduced to products, Germany reminds us that artisanship is spirituality, that to carve a shepherd from wood, or to light a pyramid with flame, is to participate in something greater, a culture, a legacy, a way of seeing the world. And maybe that's the most powerful fire of all. Not the one that burns in hearths, but the one that burns in memory, lit again each year with the turning of December and passed on through hands, through heart, through history. The cold of a German December is not harsh. It is inviting. It gathers people closer to hearth and table, where the true heart of Christmas beats in flavors, aromas, and ancient recipes whispered across generations. In Germany, food is not an afterthought of the season. It is a language, a celebration, a form of remembrance. And at no time is this more true than during Weihnachten. To walk into a German home or market in December is to be enveloped in scent, cloves, orange peel, roasted nuts, and dark chocolate. These aren't just smells. They are memories in the air. The kitchen becomes sacred ground, where centuries of tradition are revived, not with performance, but with devotion. It begins with Plätzchen, the Christmas cookies. Every region has its own. Every family their secret recipe. There's the delicate vanilla Kipfel, crescent-shaped and dusted with powdered sugar, melting like snow on the tongue. The intricate Spritzgib, piped in shapes and dipped in chocolate. The ginger-spiced Lebkuchen, often heart-shaped and decorated with colorful icing, dating back to medieval monasteries where monks first crafted them as spiced meditations. Baking in Germany is more than culinary. It's a ritual of presence. Mothers, daughters, grandfathers, and sons gather for entire days, rolling, cutting, laughing, listening to carols. The kitchen fills with warmth, not just from the oven, but from the shared rhythm of care. The scent of these cookies lingers in the air like a blessing, seeping into curtains, hair, memory. If your room is quiet now, try to imagine it. A window fogged by warm breath. Outside, the snow falls in slow spirals. Inside, hands dust flour from their palms. A child steals a cookie from the rack and runs. Someone hums a carol, not for performance, but out of instinct. This is the Germany of Christmas, not in postcards, but in practice. And then there is the feast. German Christmas dinner is not uniform. It varies from region to region, family to family, but it is always marked by intention. In many homes, the evening of December 24th, Heiligabend, is reserved for a light meal, perhaps potato salad and sausages, a tradition dating back to post-war simplicity. But on the first Christmas day, December 25th, the table is set with richness. Roast goose, golden Christ, aromatic, is a centerpiece, often accompanied by red cabbage, potato dumplings, and pan gravies, slow-cooked with herbs and wine. In other homes, duck, venison, or even carp may take the center stage. Each dish is grounded in seasonal availability, echoing a time when food had to be preserved, planned, and honored. And always, there is Stollen, the famous fruit bread of Christmas, dense, dusted with powdered sugar like fresh snowfall. Its marzipan center is a surprise of sweetness. Originally baked in Dresden during the 15th century, Stollen began as a symbol of fasting, a dry, simple bread made without butter. Over time, as rules relaxed, butter returned, and the bread became enriched with raisins, candied fruit, spices, and legends. To eat Stollen is to bite into centuries. Each slice tells of times of hunger and times of abundance, of the Church's rules and the people's quiet rebellion through flavor, of how a simple loaf can carry the weight of faith, culture, and longing. But perhaps no flavor is more iconic than that of Glühwein, the hot mulled wine that fills every market and home. Red wine, simmered with orange, cloves, cinnamon, and star anise, poured into ceramic mugs held by cold fingers. Glühwein is not just a drink, it is an act of warmth, passed from hand to hand, glass to soul. In some homes, there's even a child-friendly version, Kinderpunsch, ensuring that everyone, young and old, can hold their own cup of comfort. And through it all, food is never rushed. It is eaten slowly, with conversation, with memory. Each bite connects the eater to someone who once made the same recipe, who once stood at the same stove, who once loved in the same quiet way. In Germany, the Christmas table is not lavish in a showy sense, it is sacred in a sensory sense. The tablecloth may be plain, the candles may flicker unevenly, but there is always a sense that something important is happening. Not in spectacle, but in presence. Every flavor is a story, every dish a gesture of love, and in the soft hush after the meal when plates are cleared, but no one rises just yet, there is a moment, a silence, a shared breath. It is in that stillness that Christmas truly lives. Not in the gifts, not even in the songs, but in the taste of belonging, the feast that says, "You are home," in the stillness of a German winter night, before the laughter and the meals, before even the gifts are unwrapped. Something ancient rises. A song. It moves through the cobbled streets, glides over snow-covered rooftops, and slips through the cracks of churches lit by candlelight. In Germany, Christmas is not complete without music. But here, songs are not performed. They are inherited. They are not meant to entertain. They are meant to awaken. Long before Christmas carols became commercial jingles, Germany was a wellspring of sacred and seasonal music, from the solemn echoes of Gregorian chants in medieval monasteries to the tender lullabies sung in homes at night. German Christmas music is deeply rooted in both devotion and domesticity. It is music that carries, not just melody, but meaning, a link between earth and heaven, between generations long gone and those yet to come. One of the oldest and most beloved songs to emerge from this land is East een roos en sprunghen. Look how a rose ere blooming. First, documented in the 16th century, its imagery is unmistakably poetic. A rose blooming in winter, symbolizing both Mary and the Christ child beauty blooming against the frost. The melody is hauntingly gentle, like snow falling at dusk. To hear it sung in a candlelit chapel is to feel something beyond music. It is to feel continuity. Then there's O Tannenbaum, often mistaken as a mere tree song, O Christmas Tree. But, in its original German, it holds deeper layers. Written as a folk song of loyalty and resilience, it became linked with Christmas in the 19th century when the evergreen tree became a holiday icon. Its steady, rising melody is more than festive, it's foundational, evoking the rootedness of tradition. And perhaps no Christmas hymn echoes more universally than Still Not, Heilige Nacht. Silent Night, though, composed in Austria, it found one of its most faithful homes in Germany. During times of war, exile, and upheaval, Still Not was the one constant, a song that could be whispered in trenches, hummed by refugees, sung by candlelight when churches had no power. Its simplicity is its power. 3 notes, infinite comfort. In small towns and large cities alike, Advent concerts fill the evenings of December. Children's choirs rehearse for weeks to sing before congregations. Brass ensembles play from balconies and church towers. Families gather not in shopping malls, but in chapels and village squares, not to consume, but to listen, to be enveloped. And in homes the tradition continues. Many German families maintain the ritual of singing together before the opening of gifts on Christmas Eve. There are no elaborate performances, no pressure to be perfect, just voices, layered across generations, singing verses known by heart. Grandparents sing with trembling children with bright, uncertain tones. The songs become a bridge between time and tenderness. If you close your eyes now, perhaps you can imagine it. A room bathed in candlelight. A tree quietly glowing in the corner. A grandfather with a book of hymns. His voice barely audible but steady. A child swaying, half asleep. Outside, snow falls. Inside, a melody holds the moment in place. Germany's contribution to Christmas music is not just in its compositions, but in its reverence for silence between notes. The German ear has always known that space, that sacred pause, is part of the music, and so their songs are often slower, quieter, more contemplative. They invite you not to clap, but to close your eyes. This tradition of musical stillness extends beyond the church and into everyday life. Radios play classical Advent concerts. Streets are filled not with pop carols, but with organ music, choirs, strings. Even the markets know this mood, where, amid the clinking of mugs and murmurs of crowds, a violinist may begin a hymn that halts conversation, if only for a verse. Music in German Christmas is not a performance. It's a shared soul, a language of belonging, a way of saying, we remember, we rejoice, we return. And when the last note fades into the rafters of a chapel or the rafters of a home, what remains is more than echo. What remains is presence, the sense that something holy has passed through us, that even in the coldest of months, the soul can be warmed, not by fire, but by song. There is a hush that falls over Germany on the evening of December 24th. Not a silence of emptiness, but a sacred quiet. The streets, once alive with markets and music, grow still. Shops close early. Church bells ring with a solemn rhythm. Windows glow warmly. And inside, something begins. Heiligebend, Christmas Eve, is not simply a prelude to the holiday. In Germany, it is the heart of Christmas. Unlike many cultures that emphasize the morning of the 25th, Germans place their deepest traditions, their most intimate moments, on the night before. It is the culmination of Advent, the evening when anticipation turns to presence. And though every household carries its own customs, a shared reverence unites them all. A reverence, not for spectacle, but for stillness. The day itself moves with intention. In the morning, preparations begin, not frantic, but focused. Kitchens hum with final touches. Trees, often left undecorated throughout Advent, are brought to life only on this day. In many homes, the Christmas tree is kept hidden until the last moment, when it is unveiled with ceremony and all. Parents work in quiet shifts, carefully placing ornaments, lighting real candles, and wrapping final gifts. And then, as twilight falls, a transformation takes place. Tea tree is lit, often for the first time. Candles flicker against glass ornaments. The room glows with gentle reverence, as if holding its breath. In some homes, a bell is rung signaling the arrival of the Christkind, the Christ child, a symbolic presence, invisible yet deeply felt. Children, wide-eyed and whispering, enter the room to find the gifts beneath the tree. But the gifts are not the climax. They are part of the ritual, not the point. Before a single present is opened, there is often a moment of music. Families gather around the piano or simply stand together and sing. Stige nuts do felice, the same songs sung by their grandparents and their grandparents before them. The act is not performative, it is ancestral, a way of saying, we remember, we are here, we are together. In deeply Christian households, a family member may read aloud the Christmas Gospel, the story from Luke of the shepherds and the angels, the manger and the star. The words, known by heart, land gently in the room, as if spoken by time itself. Then, and only then, come the gifts. The act is slow, ceremonial. Each present is received, not with frenzy, but with gratitude. Children are taught to pause, to thank, to savor. There is laughter, yes, but beneath it, a deep awareness of the moment's weight. Dinner on Heilige Bend is often simple but sacred. As mentioned before, many families prepare handkartoffelsalat, sausages, and potato salad, not out of lack, but out of tradition. The meal speaks of humility, of shared roots, of remembering the importance of the spiritual over the material. It also allows families to spend the evening together, unburdened by elaborate dishes. The richer feast waits for the next day. Later in the evening, many families make their way to midnight mass, or churches open their doors to congregants, wrapped in scarves and quiet expectation. Inside, the service unfolds with solemnity and candlelight. The sanctuary, filled with evergreen and hymn, feels like stepping into a sacred pause between time. The bells ring again, not loudly, but with tender command. And for those who stay home, the evening continues with quiet conversation, storytelling, and often the lighting of the final Advent candle. Some place real candles on the tree, lit only under watchful eyes. The flames flickered against ornaments and old photo frames, casting shadows that feel like memory. If you're reimagining this now, a room lit by nothing but fire and intention, can know that it's not a fantasy. It is the heartbeat of Christmas in Germany. It is how the soul of a culture chooses to mark time, not with noise, but with presence. There is something profoundly human about how it speaks to our deepest longings, for family, for continuity, for quiet wonder. It is not extravagant. It is not performative. It is sacred in the most intimate sense. Not because it's rare, but because it's true. And when the last candle is snuffed out, when the tree stands glowing in the silence, when the snow outside falls unseen, what remains is not the memory of gifts, but the feeling of having been there completely, fully, in the light, in the stillness. Together, beneath the ornaments, beneath the melodies, and the candlelit windows, there lies something far less visible, yet deeply alive. Germany's devotion to preserving the spirit of Christmas. It is not simply a holiday here. It is a cultural identity, a vessel through which centuries of faith, fear, memory, and celebration have been distilled into ritual. What makes Germany's Christmas so enduring is not its scale, not its markets, its feasts, or its decorations, but its intentionality. Every part of it means something. Every tradition carries the fingerprints of a generation that came before. The warmth that fills a German home in December isn't artificial. It is earned through practice, through preservation, and through an unspoken understanding that this season matters. Why does Germany hold on to this so tightly? Perhaps it begins with geography and time. A land often touched by harsh winters, long nights, and quiet snow. A place where communities historically had to rely on one another, where solitude bred reflection, and where the cycle of nature was felt not as metaphor, but as survival. In such a place, the return of light meant everything. The solstice mattered, and so the traditions grew, slowly, thoughtfully, as a way to mark life against darkness. Then came the church, the Reformation, the wars, the partitions, the rebuilding. Germany, over centuries, has been a country of division and reunification, of loss and and in the quiet of December, when the world feels fragile, these traditions become anchors. A way of saying, we are still here. We remember who we are. This is why a nutcracker carved by a great-grandfather still stands on a mantel, why a Schwibgon lights a window in Dresden or Stuttgart, why a child still sings Stille Nacht with her parents, even as the world rushes forward. It is not nostalgia. It is resistance to forgetting. Germany's Christmas is layered a mosaic of pagan roots, Christian belief, folk art, regional identity, and modern adaptation. But at its core is a shared desire to create meaning in a season that can feel empty without it. This meaning doesn't come from extravagance. It comes from ritual, lighting the Advent candles, not all at once, but week by week, waiting, opening the little doors of a handmade Advent calendar, not just for chocolate, but for rhythm, attending the Christmas Eve service, not out of obligation, but out of a need to hear the same words spoken again. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. This ritual gives shape to time. It turns December into something sacred, something held. In the face of globalization, commercialism, and digital saturation, Germany's approach to Christmas offers a different path, one rooted in quietness, depth, and presence. And it is no surprise that many of the world's most cherished Christmas symbols, the tree, the ornaments, the carols, find their origin in this land. But beyond origin lies soul. To walk the streets of Nuremberg in December is to feel it. To listen to a choir in Leipzig, to smell the Glühwein in a small-town market in Bavaria, to see a family gathered, not around a screen, but around a wreath, a piano, a tree lit with real candles. This is more than tradition. It is a philosophy of celebration. It teaches that wonder does not need to be loud. That meaning can be found in repetition. That joy is often born in silence. That belonging is built, not in one night, but through centuries of shared memory. And that the most beautiful things, music, warmth, faith, food, are best when they are given, not just consumed. So when the season ends, and the lights are taken down, and the last cookie is eaten, what remains is not just nostalgia. What remains is the soul print of a people who, year after year, return to the same rituals, not to escape the world, but to remember what is most human in it. In Germany, Christmas is not a break from life. It is a mirror of it, at its most thoughtful, generous, and bright. Long after the markets have closed, after the choirs have sung their final notes, and the last candle has burned low, a quiet lingers in Germany. The kind of quiet that doesn't signal an end, but a continuation. Because here, Christmas does not vanish with the falling needles of the tree. It stays. In the walls, in the windows, in the soul. It is there in the way a grandmother wraps up leftovers stolen in a linen cloth and places it gently on the windowsill. Not out of habit, but out of memory. It is in the way a child turns back to look at the Christmas pyramid one last time before going to bed, the figures still slowly turning in the dim light. It is in the way a father hums, still not, long after the decorations are boxed away, almost without realizing it. Because in Germany, Christmas is not an event. It is a presence, a season that touches time, yes, but also touches something eternal. And maybe that is the true legacy of this country. As deep and enduring Christmas traditions. They teach us how to hold on, not to the material, but to the meaningful, not to what glitters, but to what glows quietly. They show us that in a world rushing toward light and noise, there is still space, sacred space, for slow joy, for silent faith, for shared memory. As we leave this journey through German Christmas, perhaps we carry something with us, a new way of seeing the season, less as a countdown and more as a climb inward, a way back to ourselves, to our families, to the stories that shape us. And maybe tonight, wherever you are in the world, you'll light a single candle. You'll turn off the big lights. You'll put on a soft carol. And in that flicker, in that stillness, you'll feel it too, that Christmas is not behind us. It is within us, waiting to be remembered, waiting to be lived again.